Hi everyone, this is CY. Once again, thanks for joining me. Um, I've just received this parcel, right, 2 days ago. So I think today we're just going to do an unboxing. This is actually a new grinder, right? I think it has already been going on for sales in the US, some markets, but we have just received this grinder, right, and from the manufacturer, and we're going to test it out, right? Because this is the DF83, right? So I'm not too sure what the color that the manufacturer sent to me. Uh, let's find out, right? So without further ado, let's get started. Right. Let's first open up the parcel. This is shipped to me by DHL. Right. So other than the outer box, there's actually another inner box, which I'm just going to cut it open. Right. The entire packaging looks very similar to the DF64. Right. So let me just put this packaging aside. Right. So this is actually the box. Right. And of course, it is the DF83. Right. And it comes with 83 mm burst, uh, with an optional hopper, right, or the bellow. So yes, dual system whereby you can actually use both. Right, in terms of the packaging style, right, it's actually very similar to the DF64, right, really well packed. Uh, Instructional manual as usual, right, the printout is exactly the same as DF64. Right, it's really well padded. Oh, I'm getting the white color version. So the accessories that comes with it, similarly, right, comes with a dosing cup, plastic one, um, exactly the same as the DF64, right? Side. Oh, interesting. So the bellow is slightly different, right? Right, the bellow has sort of a funnel shape here, right? So it is slightly different, right? So there's actually a funnel inside rather than the standard bellow. Let me just pick it up and show you guys. Right, this is the bellow from DF64. Right, this is from DF64, and this is from DF83. Right, in terms of design, in terms of depth, it is um slightly shorter, right? And the bottom design is different, right? So I think this will actually perform better. I don't know in terms of design because you are pushing here and bellow out from here. So I presume that this will work slightly better than this, right? But of course, in the DS64 we have something called the anti-popcorn, and this will create a very similar kind of design, right? Let me show you, right? So in terms of design, because we create a funnel, right, sort of anti-popcorn device, it works like a funnel, which actually reduces the opening towards the burr, right? And this actually create a higher pressure, so it's easier for the coffee ground to bellow out. Right, so let's put this aside. Okay, comes with a squirt bottle. I suppose this is for RDT, right, to remove static. So this will put it aside. Okay, other than that, that's all for the packaging. And comes with a hopper, right? I believe this hopper can take about 250 grams of coffee, right? Has got a little gray color tinting, right? So pretty well designed, right? It's able to pull out and lock it, right? And there's actually an anti-popcorn design inside, like the other grinder from China. So the hopper is pretty well done, right? Other than that, let me see. They give you a brush to clean out the coffee ground, right? For Singapore version, right, it comes with UK 3-pin puck, right, as a standard. Right, so let me take out the grinder and show you guys. Oh, besides that, we also come with an additional collar, right? I believe this is actually to close the gap between the exit chute to the dosing cup, right? So that to create a lesser mess. So this is a nice touch. Right, so let me take out the grinder. Oof, wow, it's pretty heavy. Oh, okay, let's put this box aside. Okay, so that is the grinder. So let me remove the plastic packaging. Oh, the finishing is white gloss. I would say the finishing is a lot better than the DF64. Right, let me bring you closer. Right, so at the side, it feels like this guy has a very high nose bridge, right? With a mouth, at the bottom. Generally, the finishing is very premium, right? Of course, now the button has switched to the side. So now you can see that the on-off button is at the side here. Right, later on, we'll plug in the power and turn on the grinder, right? And it comes with a walnut cover, right, with a O-ring, right? So this is another nice touch. So I presume that this will be a better seal, right? So when you do the bellowing, so this is really nice. So there's no need for us to mod anymore, right? Comes with the standard dosing so grind indicator, metal one, which is similar to the one on the DF64 version 4. Right, I would say it's exactly the same, right? So the adjustment is very similar, right? It's the same as the on the DF64. Wow, at 0 is really touching. And after 0, right, I can see that the grinder, the burr sets are not touching anymore. Right, so let me bring you closer. Right, so I hope you can hear the sound. Let's turn to 0. Right, this is exactly at 0, and the burrs are actually not touching each other. It's still not touching. Okay, the burrs are locked. I will say this is pretty well aligned out of the box. Right, so as you can see, the inside creates a really good seal between. Right, so let me put on tripod, my phone on tripod, then we will try to switch on the grinder and see how well it comes. So currently it's at 0. So let's try to listen to the sound. You can hear the two birds touching each other. And once I move away from 0, right, the birds are no longer touching. And let's try to grind at 15 and see how it goes. I presume that my dosing cup adapter will still fit. Yes, great. And if I do that, it brings it even closer to the exit, right? This is almost directly emptying into the cup. So the dosing adapter from my previous design for the DF64 still works well, right? Pull it out. I put this on, right? Of course, you can put on the color, right? I think it will fit as well. Okay, this is how it works. Okay, so it doesn't tilt, and I think this will work pretty well as well. Right, so let's measure some coffee and then let's try to see what kind of retention it has. Of course, the first few shots will not be accurate because again, there's a lot of empty spaces between. So I'm going to just use some old coffee. Right, let's see how heavy this is. I think for the convenience, I will not be using this collar. Right, I'll be using my dosing cup adapter. Right, because this one just slides it in, which is easier for me, and I can just take it out. So there's no need to use this adapter. Right, so let's measure how much coffee is there in this tube. Right, there's about 14.8 grams of coffee. Right, let's see, let's put it in and then we grind and see how it goes. Okay, let's do, before we bellow, let's measure. Right, it's about 14.7. Wow. If I remember correctly, just now we measured 14.8, right? So let's now bellow. 15.2, which means there are some coffee. Because when I tried to bellow just now, there was some coffee dropping out. So I presume they have already tested this in the factory. Right, so let's try to dose another one and see what is the output. Right, this is 18.2 grams. Right, so we're gonna do again before bellow and after bellow and see what's the retention level. Seventeen point 7 grams. So just now we mentioned 18.2. So there will be around 0.5 grams of retention, right, if I don't bellow. And of course, everything comes stock. I'm testing the entire grinder as stock. All right, so now we have I have transferred the DF83 to my coffee counter. So right now, my coffee counter is a little cluttered with all the different grinders, right? So that's the horizontal all ground, right? The G64, the DF64, and the DF83. And on the other side, I have the Chinese EK43. I have another 83 burr grinder. And on this side, right, I have the weight dosing 64 grinder. So, uh, running out of space very soon at my shop. But yep, it's a lot of fun trying to dial in and testing different grinders and equipment. So currently we are testing this grinder with the Lily Bianca, right? So let's try to pull shots on the 83, right? And previously when I try to grind at 10, right, appears that it's too fine. So right now let's try to grind maybe around 15 and let's test, right? The adjustment on the DF83, I would say it is a little bit smoother, right? I need lesser force to turn the um, adjustment ring on the DF83 as compared to the DF64. DF64, I need to use a larger a torque to turn this, right? Like a moment, right? So right now, let's dose about 18 grams of coffee. And then let's see how the shot is. Um, let me see. Okay, let's use our Yunnan anaerobic honey processed coffee, right? It's roasted to medium. Uh, right, so 18.1 gram, right? Let's see how much retention we can get before and after bellowing. By the way, I'm using my dosing cup adapter on the DF83. It fits nicely. I'm so used to pressing the button at the bottom, right? I can see the static build up inside, and you can see the coffee is flying out. Right, let's power off the grinder and let's see how much coffee are we getting out. 17.8 grams before bellow, right? Remember we use about 18.1 grams of coffee, so 0.3 grams of retention is actually pretty promising before bellow, right? So let's bellow the coffee out. 18.1 exactly. So 18.1 grams of coffee in and 18.1 grams of coffee out. There's a little bit of coffee flying out, but this coffee is really insignificant, and the grinder couldn't pick up. I mean, the weighing scale cannot pick up the coffee, right? So right now, let's try to pull a shot with our Lily Bianca. Right, the grind is pretty consistent, but at 15, I feel that the grind size is still too fine. But let's see how it goes. Okay, let's put the scale there. All right, let me bring the camera closer. As you can see, there's no coffee coming out. Right, totally nothing. So even at grind size of 15, um, it is still grinding too fine, right? So this is very different from DF63, DF64, because if I grind at 15, it will probably flow too fast, right? Today the focus is on the DF64, but on the DF83. So right now I will adjust the grind size to maybe 20, right? So let's do at 20 and see how it goes, right? You can see the size is not much bigger as compared to the DF64. right? So DF83 is slightly larger. In terms of height, it is almost the same as you can see, right? Of course, my DF64 is on a tilted stand, whereas the DF83 is not. It's sitting flat on my table, right? So I would say the DF83 is slightly taller than the DF64. Let's measure another 8 grams. I hope I have enough coffee. Right, we only have about 9 grams left. Let me see whether we have something similar. Okay, let me open another bag of coffee. Right, we are still using the same. Wow, smells really good. Right, 18.1. Right, remember we are still using 18.1 grams. And then my grind size has adjusted to let's adjust to 20. Right, it's quite a major adjustment. So instead of the plastic dosing cup, let's try to use a stainless steel one to see whether it can actually reduce the static. Okay, good. Let's weigh. 18.1, my goodness, 18.0. So I'm actually getting lesser and lesser retention. And the metal cup definitely helped to reduce static. There's no more coffee jumping up actually. So I think switching to a metal dosing cup is actually better than using the plastic one, because you can see that there's no more coffee flying out. I should have cleaned off the coffee from the surface of the grinder and show you again, right? But let's see um, how the extraction is. This is definitely too fine. So right now I'm grinding at 20 on the DF83. You can see that the bottom part is totally dry and the top is very, very soggy, right? So this is definitely grinding a bit too fine. Okay, let's clean out the water filter. You can see that I don't use this collar because it's not going to be it's not I don't use directly on this, right? Because I'm using my dosing cup adapter. Okay, let's just do a little bit of RWDT. Knock it down a little bit, and then we're going to distribute this, and then we're going to tamp, right? And I always use touch screen, right? I'm adjusting the flow pedal to the middle. Right, let's turn on the grinder and see the short extraction. Right, let's increase the flow, max out the flow. My goodness, it's still too fine. Even at a grind setting of 20. You can see that pressure goes to maximum 10 bar. So totally nothing comes out. Right, so again, at a grind size of 20, right, no coffee is coming out. So I have to try one more time. So let's do it. So I hope this is the last time we do this. Let's increase to 25. right? So from 15, I'm adjusting all the way to 25. So it should be very, very coarse according to the DF64 standard. Right, I think will be around 18.1. Yes, 18.1 gram. Right, so let's do that again. Let's measure. 18.1. My goodness. So there's actually no need to bellow. Oh, so there's a bit of retention from the previous grind. So now I'm actually getting about 18.6 out. So there's a little bit of retention from the previous one. So I'll have to allow the grinder to settle in, right? So that I can get a better estimation of whether the retention is high or low on this DF83. Right, so let's do a little bit of WTT. Right, distribute. And then we turn. Touch screen. Right, let me bring it closer. Again, my pedal is switched to the maximum. Pressure goes up. Wow, there's still no coffee coming out. Right, this shows that the grind on the DF64 is really very fine. So there's quite a lot of adjustment I can do. So no, yep, still too fine. So I'm already grinding at the 25, right? I'm not too sure whether this is the same experience for those of you who got the DF83. But I think this is what I'm going to do for today, because if I continue to do this, the video is going to be very long. So this is my first use experience on the DF83. So this is CY once again. Thanks for joining me. Right. So today's video is I will try to not to make the first video long because it has unboxing and it has me talking about the quality of the grinder, on the appearance and the build quality, the design, and I try to use the grinder to try to pull shots, but not very successful today because I realized the grind adjustment is very different from the DF64 as compared to the DF83, right? Usually, if I grind at 20 to 30 on a DF64, it's already mocha pot kind of grind size, whereas on the DF64, I'm still getting too fine grind which choke my Lily Bianca, and I'm not able to get even a single drop of espresso out. So that's how fine it gets even at the grind setting of 20 on the DF83. So this is UI once again, right? Stay tuned for more content update on the DF83 because I'm going to try to get it dialing and I'm able to pull successful espresso shot on the DF83, right? So thank you for joining me today. This is UI once again, right? If you haven't subscribed to my channel, right, remember to hit the subscribe button if you want to stay updated with our content, and also ring the bell and like our videos, right? And that will help, to let more people know about our channel, right? And thanks for joining me today. This is CY.